Hi students, welcome back to the Google Classroom of Plus 2 Indian Economic Development, Chapter 2 Indian Economy 1950 to 1990. How are you children? I hope all of you are fine and safe there at home.
In the previous class, you have already learnt about agriculture in detail. Today, we would focus on the topic industry and trade. Economists have found that poor nations can progress only if they have a good industrial sector. Industry provides employment which is more stable than the employment in agriculture. It promotes modernization and overall prosperity. It is for this reason that the 5-year plans place a lot of emphasis on industrial development. We have already studied in the lower classes there are three sectors of our economy. Which are they? Yes, primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Okay. So children, on the basis of ownership, sectors are further divided into two, which are the public and private sectors. Okay. So at the time of independence, Indian industrialists didn't have the capital to undertake investment in industrial ventures required for the development of our economy. Nor was the market big enough to encourage industrialists to undertake major projects even if they had the capital to do so. So children, in these circumstances, the state government had played an important role in this industrial sector. It is principally for these reasons that the state had to play an extensive role in promoting the industrial sector. In addition to the decision to develop the Indian economy on socialist lines led to the policy of the state controlling the commanding heights of the economy, as the second 5-year plan put it. So the second plan focused on the development of the public sector and the rapid industrialization. Okay, so the second plan focused on the development of public sector and the rapid industrialization. This meant that the state would have complete control of those industries that were vital for the economy. The policies of the private sector would have to be complementary to those of the public sector, with the public sector leading the way. Industry, the role of industrial sector in India. Industrialization is important for overall growth of a country. Following points highlight the importance of industry in an economy. First one, it provides employment. Then this industry raises national income and it promotes regional balance. What do you mean by this regional balance? There is a gap between rich and poor in some regions. So it promotes the regional balance. Then it leads to modernization. It helps to modernize agriculture and it leads to self-sustainable development. This industry leads to self-sustainable development. Then it leads to high potential for the growth and it is a key to high volume of exports. After industrialization, we have to concentrate more on our exports. Then the growth of civilization. It also helps to change in the basic structure of the economy and it is a source of employment. It imparts dynamism to growth process. Because of all these points, industrialization is a precondition for the final takeoff of an economy. Then industrial development since independence. Share of industrial sector in the GDP has increased up to 20% in 2013 to 14. Underline this one in your textbook. Okay. Share of industrial sector in the GDP has increased up to 20% in 2013 to 14. The following important changes have taken place because of this industrial development. First one, development of infrastructure like power, transport, communication, banking, finance, qualified and skilled human resources. All these are the important developments in the field of infrastructure. Then second one, much progress in the field of research and development. Because of this industrialization, there is much progress in the field of research and development. Then expansion of public sector. Then building up of capital goods industry. The last point, growth of non-essential consumer goods industries. Then there are some problems of industrial development in India. Which are they? First one, sectoral imbalances. Agriculture and infrastructure have failed to provide the support to industrial sector. So there are three sectors of the economy: agriculture sector or primary sector, then secondary sector and service sector. The main aim of the service sector or tertiary sector is to provide support and aid to both first and second sectors, which are the agriculture and industrial sector. So the first point of these problems of industrial development in India is the sectoral imbalances. Agriculture and infrastructure have failed to provide the support to the industrial sector. Then second one, regional imbalance. What do you mean by regional imbalance? Development of industry or rapid industrialization restricted to few states. Then industrial sickness, which raised the problem of unemployment. And higher cost of industrial product due to lack of healthy competition. Dependence on the government for the reduction in tax or duty to make import easier. Poor performance of the public sector, underutilization of capacity, and increasing capital output ratio. So all these are the problems of industrial development in India. Then what is the role of public sector or government in industrial development? This is very important. Role of public sector or government in industrial development. Direct intervention of the state was considered essential in the following factors. First one, lack of capital with the private entrepreneurs. So during that time, lack of capital with these private entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs means private industrialist. Second one, the lack of incentive among the private entrepreneurs demand due to limited size of the market. Then socialistic pattern of society. That means the main aim of the government is to generate employment rather than profits. Okay. So children, what is the main aim of the government? To provide or generate employment rather than profits. Then development of infrastructure. The government played an important role in the development of infrastructure. Then development of backward areas. And they also prevent concentration of economic power in the hands of few. That means the accumulation of resources in the hands of few. So there is a gap between rich and poor. So the government prevent the concentration of economic power or resources in the hands of few people. And they promote import substitution. Another important topic is Industrial Policy Resolution 1956, IPR 1956. In accordance with the goal of the state controlling the commanding heights of the economy, the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956 was adopted. This resolution formed the basis of the second five-year plan, the plan which tried to build the basis for a socialistic pattern of the society. Because of this resolution, the industries are classified into three categories. Okay, the industries are classified into three categories. Which are they? First category, second category, and third category. First category comprised industries which would be exclusively owned by the state. Then the second category consists of the industries in which the private sector could supplement the efforts of the state sector, with the state taking the sole responsibility of starting of new units. Then the third category consists of the remaining industries which were to be in the private sector. So first one exclusively by the state, then second category joint sector, both private and government sectors are there. Then the third category includes only the private sector. Although there was a category of industries left to the private sector, the sector was kept under the state control through a system of licenses. No new industry was allowed unless a license was obtained from the government. This policy was used for promoting industry in backward regions, and it was easier to obtain a license if the industrial unit was established in an economically backward area. In addition to that, such units were given certain concessions, such as tax benefits and electricity at a lower tariff. What is the purpose of this industrial licensing system? The purpose of this policy was to promote regional equality. So go through the features of industrial policy resolutions once more. First one, new classification of industries. That means industries were classified into three schedules depending upon the role of the state. Schedule A, that means first category. 17 industries listed in this Schedule A, whose future development would be the responsibility of the state. Then Schedule B, 12 industries were included in this Schedule B. Private could supplement the efforts of the public sector, with the state taking sole responsibility for starting new units. Then Schedule C, other residual industries, other remaining industries were left open to the private sector. Then stress on the role of cottage and small scale industries. Then industrial licensing. Industries in private sector could be established only through a license from the government. That is very important. What do you mean by industrial licensing? Industries in the private sector could be established only through a license from the government. Then industrial concessions were offered private entrepreneurs for establishing industry in the backward regions of the country, such as tax rebate and concessional rates for power supply.
Let us conclude today's session by recollecting all the concepts.
Children, you must study the role of industrial sector in India, the industrial development since independence, and the problems of industrial development in India. Okay, then this is very important, the role of public sector or government sector in industrial development. Then another important one is the Industrial Policy Resolution 1956, IPR 1956. This is an important instrument through which the government regulates the industrial activities in an economy. Then next one, the features of Industrial Policy Resolution. The classification of industries into three. First category, second category, and third category. The first category comprised industries which would be exclusively owned by the state. Then second category, the joint sector. That means both private and public sectors. Then what about the third category? It includes the private sector industries.
So children, please note that the corresponding URL, notes of the lesson and test paper are also attached along with this video. Make use of all these available resources, study well and attempt the test paper without fail. Thank you.